Okay, so we are trying to go live today with Sandhya. Waiting for her to join us. Okay, hello everyone. We'll just wait for Sandhya to join us. Once she joins, we'll begin with the interview. Sandhya has not yet joined us. I'm just waiting for her to connect. Okay, we have received her request. It gets connected soon. Okay, it takes time to connect. We will wait for some time. Let's hope it gets connected soon. Yes, Sandhya, I have already accepted the request. I hope we join soon. Are you getting any error, Sandhya? Just check on your screen. Okay, I guess we are connected.
Hi, Leena. Can you hear me?
Hi. Yeah, I can hear you. I can't see you, but that's okay. That's a glitch we always face.
I can see
Uh,
you.
you can see me, right? Okay. So others, can you all see both of us? Please once comment and confirm.
I think there are 9 people online. I think they
Yes,
should be able to see us.
yes, yes. Just checking once. Saktiya, can you see both of us? Please comment. Yes. So we are getting a yes from everyone. Okay,
Okay.
Sandhya. So
Hi.
I'm very excited talking to you today, finally.
Same here. It's been a great journey of communication, right? And sharing
Yes,
chats and
yes.
um,
Yes. Correct. So today we have with us Sandhya Vaidyanathan. As most of us know her, that masala girl. She's with us finally today, and we are a fan of her art. I've got so many DMs, Sandhya, that we are following Sandhya even before her adoption journey,
oh
and
wow.
we know Sandhya. Like we love her art, we love the posts that she shares of her kids, and we have got so many DMs. People have guessed your name correctly when we posted your photo, a little game we tried to play.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. So, let's begin the question and answer round. It's going to be a friendly chat, a friendly conversation to bring a little insight about your adoption journey, Sandhya, with all the
Yeah,
followers that we have. Yeah.
yeah.
So, Sandhya, to begin with, tell us something about yourself and your family.
Um, so Leena, I was born and brought up in Dubai, and
Yeah.
I studied there till my 12th grade, and then I moved to India to study architecture. And I
Okay.
did my interior design and architecture in Pune, and then came back to Dubai to work. And in 2009, I got married and came to
Yeah.
Bangalore. So my
Okay.
parents and I have an elder sister,
Huh.
so that's the four of us. And I got married into a family which pretty large actually.
Huh.
Two grandmothers, in-laws, three
Okay.
siblings. So it was a little bit of a culture shock for me, not used to having so many people in the house.
Correct. Correct.
So, and then having moved from a foreign country, and then
Correct.
the cultural shock also that came along with it, right? Like the rituals that take place in the house and how things are
Correct.
done. And
Correct.
so,
Correct.
yeah, getting used to that. And I was very young when I got married. I was 22 years old. So,
Okay.
um, so not only culture shock, there's a big age gap between me and my husband. So also a generational gap, and a lot of older people at the house. And um, generally the way things are done, I think in an Indian setup,
Indian.
whereas how things are for us when we're raised abroad is
Correct.
these people experience a lot more. Their perspective of life is very different. So a lot of
Different.
openness, a lot
Hmm.
of communication. I saw both my parents go to work every day, and my
Correct.
mother-in-law is a stay-at-home mom. So
Huh.
there's a lot of the equation with the children is very different. It's very casual. It's very friendly.
Correct. Correct.
So I had to get used to that, right? Like open
Correct.
conversations.
Correct.
Everything is discussed in
Correct.
the living
Correct.
room. So
Correct.
yeah.
Correct. Correct.
So
Correct.
so that's my husband, me, and now two children. So yeah, four of us now. So
Okay.
and yeah, raising them here in India. I don't think I would raise them anywhere else in the world. I would. I mean, there's no other country in the world I'd want to raise them. But yeah, I'm very
Correct. Correct.
happy being now properly living here in Bangalore, and yeah, so
So yes, even I keep checking your photos and the videos that you share. The one video I just can't take it out of my mind is when I think in your veranda your kids are playing early in the morning, the sun rays falling on them. It is such a beautiful video. Your daughter is picking up your son, and
yeah.
that is such a like angelic video it is like I must have seen it so many times. I showed it to my mom. See, mom, the sun rays falling on the kids. It's looking really beautiful.
I feel like Leena at some point of time, right? I manifested these children because I literally in my heart I had this vision of what my children would look like, right? And
Correct,
I don't know how many I would have had, but I think all of us who dream to be mothers and want to be mothers, whether we have
correct,
our own biological children or we bring them through our manifestations or from our heart, we
true,
we have this maternal energy that we give out where we know that this is what life is going to look like for us when our
correct,
children are with us,
correct,
right? And so
correct,
every morning when I see them together, it totally, the power of manifestation is that
correct, correct,
it is full circle. Like what I thought about and what I felt like my life was going to look like, that's what I see with both of them. So it just feels brilliant. Like
correct,
whatever I dreamt of it. And I'm a big believer of hope. I always feel like
correct,
nobody should ever lose hope. And it's the only thing that can keep you going in the darkest times. So
true,
that is
true,
something I never
very true.
lost. Yeah, so I always dreamt and kept hoping. And I said, one day this will happen, regardless of how long that takes. Hopefully, it will happen. So, yeah.
Correct. So finally, you're living your dream, whatever you dreamt of, and whatever manifestation you did, it is finally a reality.
Yes, of course. Yeah, it's powerful. It works. Yeah.
Correct, correct. So, what was your first inspiration when it came to adoption? What is it that, what was the first thought that came to your mind when you thought of adoption?
See, I'll be honest, Lena. I
Yeah.
went through a lot of trouble with conception, and
Mm, mm,
my pregnancy journey is very public, and a lot of people know about it. And
mm.
Um,
correct, correct.
I think it came to a point, I wouldn't call it inspiration, but I think it was a
Mm,
point when we decided that there was no longer, we're not going to torture ourselves or kill ourselves over having a
correct,
child,
correct,
right?
correct,
Because it's
correct,
not worth
correct.
it. In the long run, most of these
Mm,
drugs that are used for fertility
correct,
treatments have a lot of side effects. So
correct.
at some point of time, I think when my husband saw me getting poked and prodded, and the
Mm,
egg
mm,
retrievals and the injections and the mood swings
correct,
and the things that it would do to your body, I think uh, he just
correct.
said, I am okay with not having children, but I'm not okay with not
Mm,
having a wife who is
correct, correct.
100% health wise or is going to have
True.
health issues later. Because for men, it's all about giving your sperm in a cup. But for
Mm,
women,
mm,
we have to go through so much more in
so
terms of
much.
trying to conceive, and it's just crazy, right?
Crazy. Yeah.
So I think there was a point when we had stopped the treatments, and I had just lost my twins, and
Mm,
I
mm,
was very depressed, and I just did not want to participate in anything to do with life. I didn't
mm,
want to
mm.
go to see people. I didn't want to go for birthday parties, and I was sinking into this dark hole.
Correct,
And I think
correct.
it was my husband who noticed that. And I mean, you can call it inspiration or the fact that it was a desperate attempt to sort
Mm,
of bring me back to life. It was him. He was the one who went and logged in and called me and said, listen, I'm going to log in and we're going to do this, and I'm applying for adoption, because it doesn't matter where our family comes from, as long as we have two children or one child or whatever, right?
correct,
The idea is to build
correct.
your family and have a family, and it doesn't matter where that those babies come from,
Mm,
because eventually they become our own. So,
correct, correct.
yeah.
So, as I have seen your journey, as shared by you, you have gone through a lot of, trouble, I will say trouble during your pregnancy phase. And it was a very difficult phase. I myself became very emotional watching the story, complete story. So, we would like to hear the same from you here in detail. Like, how was it and what all things you faced? Because, see, on this channel, we have been speaking about adoption, the perks, and, the happiness that we get later on. But I'm sure there are many females out there who are still struggling, who still want a biological child, not thinking about adoption, just going through these multiple, artificial treatments. So, what do you want to tell? We would like to hear your story.
Um, one of the things, so I have done multiple rounds of interviews, and we've
Mm,
done a lot of these sit down and
mm,
counsel, and with
correct,
different channels, right? With
correct.
different press and media. And
Mm, mm,
one of the things I still maintain, and I'm very, you know, I will never judge somebody who decides
correct,
to take the route of science to
true.
have a biological child, right? I don't
Correct,
think we
correct,
are in a place to judge anybody and what they feel
correct,
like and what they want to do,
correct,
because that
correct,
is
correct.
completely their choice to make. But what I
Choice,
will
yes.
tell women is the IVF clinics, they don't give
Mm,
you the truth about
correct, correct,
what these drugs do to your body, because all they will tell you is they will show you these happy pictures of people holding
correct.
multiple babies in their hands,
Yes.
and they will
Mm,
say, hey, listen, we will ensure you get a baby, and they'll put a lot
correct,
of
correct.
stories on Instagram and videos of. I don't think there is ever any hospital or clinic or doctor who's putting up a video where the babies have not lived or have
Yes.
passed away or there is
Mm,
trauma, because they don't
correct.
want to show the ugly side of what
True.
happens in this
Mm,
industry.
mm,
Now, in
correct,
my
correct.
case, I got pregnant within like 8 months of my marriage. I was carrying, and
Mm,
there was a lot of stressful situations in our life, and
mm,
I miscarried very early.
mm,
I was about 12 weeks pregnant when I had a missed abortion,
okay.
and eventually after that I was not able to conceive, and so we went to the hospital to get our checks done,
Mm,
and uh, one of the procedures when it was going on, the hospital, I still continue to fight a case against them for medical negligence. They left a piece
mm.
of gauze inside me. So
Oh,
I had that gauze inside me for about 11 days,
oh my.
and I had not been given any antibiotics or anything. And so, in the process of
Mm,
which, I got a very massive infection,
correct.
and subsequently had to have multiple surgeries to
Mm,
remove my left ovary, left tube, And
mm,
post which they told me that if we don't I don't think it's possible for me to get pregnant biologically, have a
mm,
biological baby. It would, I mean, naturally. So I
mm,
would have to
mm.
try IUIs or
Uh,
IVFs or whatever, because I
uh,
had only one working ovary and one working tube.
mm,
And
correct.
we tried IVF, and I was
Mm,
pregnant on my first round of IVF. And I carried that pregnancy for 4 months till my water broke, and then I was admitted.
okay.
I
Mm.
was admitted in the hospital for about 52 days,
Oh,
and I had an infection
almost
in
two
my
months.
placenta.
Mm,
Yeah, so I had an infection in my placenta, and I had to eventually terminate the pregnancy. I delivered the babies, and I lost
mm,
them. So I came home like
mm,
a woman who had given birth, but without any
mm,
babies. So yeah. So it was also quite traumatic for me in the hospital, because during my delivery, I had a cord prolapse. I hemorrhaged very badly. My placenta tore,
mm.
and I bled a lot, and I went into cardiac arrest. So I
Oh,
was on life support for about 4 days on the ventilator,
mm,
and I was
mm,
pretty much given up for good. And they told me that they told my husband and my family that I won't make it, because my all my bodily systems had just shut down, and I barely had a pulse, so it was the machines keeping me alive. And
okay.
somehow I came home alive from there, and yeah, here I am. I'm sitting in front of you, and
Yes.
yeah. So
So
this was
yes,
yeah, it was the hardest time of my life, because I had to sign those papers. I mean, both the babies had strong heartbeats throughout, but I knew how precious that pregnancy was, and to have to let go of that. And yeah, so yep,
I'm sure
that's my
everyone
pregnancy.
is. Yes. So, I watched your video. I must have cried multiple times while watching your video as well. Because it is such a, now that I see you and watching that video, I feel this lady, she's standing with the two kids. I'm speechless right now. I don't know what to say actually, but it's like your strong will is what has got you till here, I feel, and the support from your family, especially your husband. I feel it's very important that we have a very strong support as a family also.
Absolutely. I don't think without that it is possible to, you know,
Yes,
take on the kind of load that women take on daily, right?
correct,
Starting from marriage to families to adjusting to pregnancies to losing pregnancies, and you and me and so many other women who are probably watching this or who will watch this, the stories that are sometimes not told, right? We are open and we speak about stuff, but there are a lot of women who are
correct,
dealing with this on a daily basis. And I'm pretty sure it's eating them up alive, because I don't feel like they talk about this so much openly. And the reason I chose to share my story and I chose to be open and honest about this is because I felt like I was alone in that journey where I had nobody to talk to or support or any sort of support in terms of a family was there. Of course, they're always the backbone, and it's
correct.
very you're very lucky if you have a family support like that. But I had no friends to talk to, because nobody understood what I was going through
Nobody,
unless they have gone
correct,
through it themselves.
gone through. Correct,
I
correct.
remember when I lost my twins, I had another friend who I knew was pregnant, and they were also trying for a really long time.
Mm,
And I remember it was her due date, because I had
mm,
seen her pregnant with her pump,
mm, mm,
and I called her up and
mm.
I said, "Hey, listen, if there's no news. Did you deliver? What's happening?" And she started crying on the phone, and she said, "Sandhya, it was a stillbirth. I lost my baby." And she cried and cried, and I just sat on the phone and I listened to her crying, and I said, "I understand what you are going through, because I feel that pain inside me, because when another mother, we're all mothers, right? And we all raise children, and some other mothers raise our children as well. It's a village. So when a mother loses her child in whatever way, whether alive, whether in vitro, in the womb, or after the birth, or many years after the birth, in whatever way, if you're a mother, you will feel that pain of what that mother is going through. So I
Correct.
feel like it is so important to tell these stories and speak about it and talk about our journeys, because we can always help somebody who's listening today understand that there is support and there is help and there are people to talk to. And this is not something that you should be ashamed of. It is not your fault when you lose a
Correct.
child. It is not anything that you should. And I did that for myself. I was suicidal. I got very depressed because I felt like my body did not have the capacity to be able to carry a child. I was not able
Correct.
to sustain pregnancy. And I blamed myself, and actually, for the largest extent, blamed my husband as well, because it is always the next of kin that signs all the papers, right? So when they say we're going to
Mm.
terminate the pregnancy, they made him sign the papers.
Correct.
So I kept telling him, you killed the babies, you killed the babies. And I know now today how hard it can be for men,
For
because
him.
we feel things, right? We feel heartbeats, we feel Dopplers, we can feel the movement of the babies inside us when we're carrying them in our womb. But the men, they don't feel anything. They only see it from externally.
Correct. 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 Correct.
It can be the
Correct.
hardest for them. So,
Correct.
yeah.
Correct. So one thing I would like to say is that, today you all might find me a little emotional when I'll be speaking to Sandhya. So please excuse me because my story is very much similar to Sandhya's. And that's the reason I want Sandhya to talk about it, to share it with people that yes, you all are not alone. We have faced it alone, and you all are not alone. We are there whenever you wish to talk. We are there. You can DM us. You're facing anything in your pregnancy. You're biological. You're having a pregnancy right now, and you're facing some difficulty. And there's no support. Just contact us. Just messages. I reply to all my messages.
Yeah.
But
I
today,
also,
while speaking,
yeah.
yeah. So today, while speaking to Sandhya, if you all find me a little emotional, a little, you know. So just excuse me for that. It's like hearing myself through Sandhya. So
You
it's
you should proudly wear your emotions on your
okay.
sleeve, and all of us should don't do not have to be brave as the world wants us to be, right? This
Correct,
smash the
correct,
patriarchy,
correct,
feminism, burn the bra. Let's all be
correct,
strong and
correct.
like men. No, we're
No,
women. We're emotional. We
we are
cry.
not.
We feel things, and it's important for us to let that emotion out. Today, I'm able to speak to you today about these things without tears because I've cried enough. I have cried so much that I think my tears have dried up, because I literally would like scream inside the bathroom when I'd come back home and I was lactating and I had no babies to give the milk to. And they had to suppress the milk with like tying my chest with a dupatta and put like cabbage inside my bra because I was engorged. And I would cry when I would go in for a shower. And it is the hardest ever, because I don't think anybody can explain to you what a woman goes through, especially when you have dreamt, right, that I'm going to nurse my babies, I'm going to be this proud mother who breastfeeds her children. And for a mother to hold her baby against her chest and nurse her baby is like the biggest, oxytocin dose ever in the world. It's like the most, beautiful thing that connects you to your child.
True.
And to not have to be able to do that, right? And Leena, what I do today, like when I give my son the bottle, right, I literally hold him against my chest and I hold his head in my arms and I feed him through the bottle, but I also keep him close to me so that he can feel my heartbeat, because for me,
Correct, correct.
I feel like that warmth and that bonding that he will have with me is so important. And so I feel like, it's okay to cry. It's okay to share your emotions. We don't have to be strong. We have
Yes.
to be able to let it out. And so we become stronger through that.
True, 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 true. Correct. So we already heard your views on artificial treatments. What do you think? It is just a money-making business going on right now, with doctors not telling the truth behind the treatments. Your views on that?
I, I have a mixed view about that, Leena. So
Mm.
when I think a lot of couples need to start reading up about
Correct,
artificial treatments and have their questions ready when they go into the clinics, right?
correct,
because I don't think they should be blinded by the dreams that are sold to
correct.
them.
Mm,
And today,
mm,
everybody is able to afford things, and we are all financially well, fortunately or
correct,
unfortunately, people are able to afford these treatments today. Some of the insurances cover it, and
correct,
uh, they need to be asking the right kind of questions. How many times do you think I should try before I give up? What can this
correct,
do
correct.
to my body? What do all the
Mm,
drugs I take? What are the side effects of it? When you take a stimulating hormone for your ovary, when they
correct.
put drugs into your system, when you inject yourself with the HCG drug, which is
Mm,
supposed to
mm,
give you eggs, more than
correct,
normal number of eggs, it is really
correct.
harmful for your ovaries because you can have water retention, which can literally kill
Mm,
you. I have a
correct.
friend who was going through IVF and they gave her a very wrong dose of the drug, and her
Mm,
ovaries were swollen, and
mm,
she had edema in her heart, and she was near
mm,
death because of these IVF treatments and these drugs. And so I think what we don't ask are the right kind of questions. We are very excited to start the treatment because they tell you, oh, first round, second
yes,
round,
yes.
one baby, multiple baby, oh, embryo is this, that.
Correct,
There
correct,
are
correct.
certain tests that they can do to the embryos, which is a little expensive, but you should get it done.
Mm,
Is where they can test if the embryo is healthy instead
healthy.
of putting
Mm,
all the embryos
and
inside you. We
correct,
never did that. I
correct,
had three embryos,
correct.
all three were inserted in. One of it was
Mm,
unhealthy, which
mm,
caused the infection inside. I had cytomegalovirus in my placenta, and
correct.
that is the one that caused the pregnancy to fail. And we should have done those things. Today when I did my research, when I read, embryo
Mm,
testing is
mm,
something, so you're doing giving your body the healthiest
correct.
chance possible.
The chance
And
possible. Yes.
there is a WHO recommended number of times that you do IVF. You don't
Mm,
do it
mm,
more than 3 to 4 times. I know people who
correct,
are doing it 10 times, 15 times, and
correct,
it's
correct,
extremely dangerous for your body. The clinics will not tell you this because they don't have any
yes,
accountability.
correct, correct.
Because when you lose a pregnancy, when something goes wrong, they will raise their hands and say, oh, you signed a disclaimer, you signed
Correct.
a document. And did you read the fine print in the document? No, you didn't.
True.
You signed the document because the doctor said, oh, listen, we're going to start our treatments now. But that's the thing. So my views on this is give it a chance if you can do it, if you believe in it, and whatever you
Mm,
do, whether it is adoption, whether it's IUI, whether it's IVF, whether it's surrogacy, if you really believe in it and you are
correct,
very strong about your hope, right, your system, then do
correct,
it with all the belief that you can do, right?
correct,
Don't do it half-heartedly. Don't do it, oh, because I need to have a baby, let's just go and do
correct,
IVF,
correct,
it's not like
correct.
that. So your brain and your body is all very connected, and it's
Mm,
supposed to be in sync during this time. And
correct, correct.
try
True.
it. If it doesn't work, sometimes there's a second chance it works, but don't do it more than the recommended number of times. I
Mm,
can
mm,
guarantee you, and I'm seeing a lot of cases through my
mm,
research, through the people I'm talking to, that
mm,
this comes back to bite you very badly
mm.
eventually. So
Eventually,
that is something that I really feel people need to start talking about more, is how
correct,
these failed
correct.
attempts and how these failures can affect your body. The drugs, where are the drugs going? Right?
Mm,
All
mm.
the hormones
Correct,
that you're putting in your system, where is it going eventually, and how is it not going to affect you? So, yeah.
correct, correct, correct. So once you start decided that you are going to apply for adoption, were you aware of Kara or what are the procedures, online application and all that?
I'll tell you, Leena, interesting
Mm,
question. I'll tell you how
mm.
we got to doing this, right?
Yes.
I was very much for adoption, but my husband
Mm,
was a little bit on the fence about it. I think men take a little bit of longer time. Women, I feel like naturally maternal. You give them a puppy, you
mm,
give them a
mm,
chicken, you
mm.
give them any baby animal, we'll nurse it and we'll put a blanket on it and we'll cuddle it and we'll make it
Correct,
ours.
correct,
But
correct,
for men, I feel like the whole concept of raising a baby that is biologically not yours can be a little
mm,
difficult, right?
mm,
Men
mm,
struggle with this,
mm,
and which is why counseling is very necessary. If you're not on the same page, you have doubts, you must speak to a counselor about it.
mm.
But it was when he went and spoke to a very close friend of his, that this is what is happening. Sandhya is very depressed.
Correct.
She has tried to take her own life, and I
Mm,
can't bear to
mm,
see her like this. is when the best advice was given to us, where we were told, listen, don't miss the train
Mm.
because this takes a long time. And so, if
Okay.
you are thinking of adoption, you should try and register now.
Mm.
And if you do get pregnant and this
Mm.
happens
Mm.
naturally,
Mm.
then you
Mm.
can choose
Mm.
to keep your
Correct.
application or you can choose to withdraw. But
Correct.
if you
Correct.
are in the queue,
Correct.
because we didn't know, like many other people, that it takes a while, right? At that time,
Mm.
it was
Mm.
taking about 2 years.
Correct.
And
Correct.
uh, when we applied for my daughter,
Mm.
it took me exactly 24 months to get her. And
Okay.
so when he told us this is a process, this is what you're
Mm.
supposed to do, and also the best advice we got from them was do not take the illegal route. There are
Mm.
many
Mm.
people
Correct.
who are pimps who are
Mm.
waiting outside hospitals. They know parents are desperate. They don't want to wait for 2 years, 3 years, or 1.5 years.
Correct.
They will
Correct.
give
Correct.
you a child. Yeah, they will tell the mother that the baby passed away, and they
Mm.
will just
Mm.
sign
Mm.
the doctor
Correct.
gets a
Correct.
cut, the nurses get
Correct.
a
Correct.
cut. They will sign the birth certificate, and then they give the baby to you. That is the
Mm.
worst thing you can do, because again it can come back to haunt you. The mother, if she
Mm.
has any inkling that the baby has not passed away, can file a
Correct.
petition in the court and get the baby back.
Mm.
So
Correct.
this is where we went and looked at Kara, and then we followed the procedures, uploaded our documents, found our agency in Bangalore. They came and did a
Mm.
home study and spoke to our neighbors, and we chose at that point of time to not tell anybody in our family.
Mm.
A very few, the smallest circle of friends, they knew about it, and
Okay.
at that point of time, we did not need to submit any reference letters or anything
Mm.
from the
Mm. Mm.
family.
Mm.
So
Correct. Correct.
only
Friends.
friends they needed, yeah, close friends. So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
so that's how we applied on Kara.
Okay. 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 So, your first daughter, tell us about her and her journey of adoption. How did she come and how was it? The feeling, the support that you got from your family for the first adoption.
Oh my God, it was, I think, the most beautiful time of our life, Leena. I
Okay.
can never forget it. I can never ever, that makes me emotional now. I don't think it's my pregnancy losses or anything. It's
Correct.
the day, I still remember the drive to go to see her, sitting in the
Mm.
car, and the jitters in my, the butterflies in my stomach, knowing that I'm going to see this baby now in a few hours, and
Correct.
that she's going to be our baby, our child. And, we've seen pictures, and my God, like the first time I saw her, I fell in love with, I
Mm.
think I'd fallen in love with her the moment we got the referral
For
and
the
had
pictures.
seen pictures of her. Yeah. And I think when I held her, right, I don't know what it is, whether you call it divine
Yes.
intervention or what it is,
Yes.
the child and the the parents who have come to bring her home, there is this
Mm.
little magical connection that
Correct.
happens where
Correct.
immediately
Yes.
the baby knows that these are my people,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
And they are going to
True.
be my forever people, and they're going to take care of me, and they're going to love me, and there's this fusion that happens
Yes. Yes.
in the chemistry,
Yes.
and I think it goes down to a cell level where everything else in your mind, right, all the tensions and worries and everything that you
Everything.
have, it just cancels out. It's like
Correct.
you're not worried about anything anymore.
Yes. Yes.
It's like
True.
everything just dissolves.
Correct.
So
Correct.
um, I remember how anxious we were, and they were trying to, like, they knew it was our first adoption, and they were trying to, like, keep us busy with, like, paperwork and sign here and sign there, and
Correct. Correct.
give this
Correct.
document, that document. And then they brought her, and they had just dressed her up in this beautiful little frock,
Mm.
tiny 6-month-old baby, and
Mm.
they carried her, and I'm sure, Leena, you know this. When
Yes.
they bring the babies and they come, these kids are very anti-social. They're scared. So I remember
Yes. Yes.
her hands being like clenched like this to the side of her face, and she
Mm.
wouldn't let me, like, put her finger into my hands. And
Correct.
slowly, when we were taking her around for all her checkups and to the doctor and for her health checkups and all that,
Mm.
she
Mm.
started to, like, she started cuddling with us and allowing me to, like, hold her and rock her. And
Mm.
yeah, and I think by the second day when we were ready to, like, bring her home and the papers were filed in the court, and yeah, she was just so comfortable. She
Mm.
didn't, that's the beauty, Leena. She didn't turn and look back at the
Correct.
people who
Correct.
had cared for
Correct.
her
Correct.
for so
Correct.
long.
Correct.
and they
correct,
were howling and they were crying, and they were so emotional because she was the
mm,
smallest baby in
correct,
the orphanage, and
correct,
she never
correct,
turned back and looked. She just knew, okay, this
correct.
is my life
This
now,
is my family.
and
Yeah,
yeah, I have to go with them, and
correct,
I'm loved here. So
correct,
yeah,
correct, correct. Yes, how old is she now?
she's 6.5.
She's 6.5.
Yeah.
So have you started like telling her at what point do you think is the correct time to start telling your children about adoption, and when do they really start understanding about it, and what are the questions that they ask, and how to deal with it?
This is a very important question you have asked me,
Yes.
because a lot of parents struggle with this, right?
Mm.
It's
Correct.
either it's very hush hush, oh, don't talk about this
Huh,
because my
huh.
daughter does not know she's adopted, or
Correct. Correct.
they're very afraid. They don't know how to approach this topic. So my daughter knows she's adopted, and
Huh.
I started telling her the story of adoption from when she was 3 years old, because
3 years. Okay.
three is an amazing time for us to
Correct.
start storytelling, right? They love stories,
Correct.
so they're very
Correct.
interested
Correct.
when you
Yes.
make up stories for them, and when you are
Correct.
like, so I and the most beautiful story of adoption is in our mythology, right? There's Krishna and there's
Correct.
Yashoda,
Krishna.
and
Yes. Yes.
and because it was a time when I was reading a lot of mythology books for her, gods and goddesses, and so I was explaining to her about how Yashoda Ma got Krishna, and how
Correct.
Vasudev went
Huh,
through the water, and
huh.
how Devaki gave the baby to her, to him to give Yashoda, because she could not take care, and because the baby's life was in danger.
Correct.
And so that is how I explained to her about how both of us, Amma and Appa, waited, for
Correct.
so many years to have you.
Hmm.
The way you approach the story, right? And this was
Correct.
told to us by a counselor, is to
Huh,
make it so personal,
huh.
and to make it so emotional. Like they should
Hmm.
feel like they have been wanted, and
One.
they have been, people, the parents have prayed for them to come. It is
Correct.
not
Correct.
about, oh, I applied for you on the
Correct.
computer, then I clicked a few
Correct.
buttons,
Correct.
and then I
Correct.
came to
Correct.
see you.
Correct. Yes.
This came to see you, filled a paper, brought you home is very impersonal, right? It's like going to a
Correct.
supermarket. But when
Yes.
so I tell her that she was in a basket and there was a little blanket.
Hmm.
And so the question is always about, and there are a lot of books actually about,
Hmm.
sitting and reading about this to children, and about how you approach this
Huh,
topic about them being heart babies. Nandana Sen, she has a
huh,
really
huh, huh.
beautiful book about it. And
Correct.
there are other books as well. I'm sure I can send you the links and you can share it as a
Yes. Yes.
post in your
Please.
page.
Yes.
I have
Yes.
these
Yes.
books with
Please.
me,
We
and I
will
read
do
these
that.
books. And there's Jamie Lee Curtis is an actress whose book is on
Hmm.
Amazon. It's called The Day I Was Born. It's a
Hmm.
really beautiful book. And so in Nandana Sen's book, there is this concept of tummy mummy and heart mummy, right?
Okay.
So I have told Rukmini about her tummy mummy,
Hmm.
and the question is always about, why can't I see her now?
Hmm.
And I said, tummy mummy does not want to be seen, because
Hmm.
tummy mummy cannot take care of you, right? And
Correct.
which is why she
Correct.
gave you to heart mommy, because she wants to keep you safe
See.
and healthy and loved. And which is why now Amma and Appa, we take care of you and we love you and we keep you safe. And I do tell her that at some point of time, when she is grown up, when she becomes 18, if she still
Hmm.
feels the need to want to see tummy mummy, we can go
Hmm.
and see her. So,
Yes.
that option should always be open. You can't kill that person.
Kill
You
that
can't
person.
make the
Correct.
person a
Till the
bad
time you
person,
don't
right?
know the reality of that person, we cannot, tell anything such
No,
to our children. Yes.
because we should always ensure that the person who is the
Correct.
birth giver,
Hmm.
and I always call them birth givers, we are the mothers,
Hmm.
and
Correct.
I call them birth givers. Birth givers are never the no, never the bad, the
Bad
bad
person.
people.
Yes. Yes.
Unfortunately, because of the society we live in, and it's a very patriarchal society,
Correct.
it is mostly the men in the families who make the decisions of
Hmm.
having to give away a child.
Child.
Like no
Correct.
mother on this earth would want to willingly give away a child unless financially she has no support. It's an
Correct.
illegitimate
Correct.
child.
Hmm.
There is a backstory.
Hmm.
It's always stories that go against our gender. So,
Correct.
which
Correct.
is why whenever people say, "Oh, what kind of a person was she? She gave her
Hmm. Hmm.
child away. She
Hmm.
abandoned her
Hmm.
baby,"
Hmm.
and I say, "No, she was
Correct.
intelligent and smart, and she cared enough to
She
keep the
cared
baby
for the
safe."
baby.
Yeah,
Yes, yes. Never judge any
enough.
mother. Never judge
No,
any
never,
mother.
never. We don't know their circumstances.
Correct,
We don't know
correct,
why they had to do what they had to do until the day we happen to meet
correct.
them. We
Hmm.
can never tell why they had to take the decisions that they do. So I always tell people, right? My children have the blessings of two women who pray for them every day, right? There's
Correct. True.
me, and then there's the person who gave birth to them. So
Correct.
they are much loved, doubly loved, because they have, double the love and double the
True.
blessings. And there's always somebody somewhere in the middle of the night hoping and praying that they
Correct.
are healthy and
Yes.
well taken care of. Yeah.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
Yes.
True. True. Very true.
And so
So do
that is how I tell her,
yeah.
Leena. That's how I
Hmm.
tell her. And I
Yeah.
do get a lot of questions,
Hmm.
why did she let me leave me, or why was I given
Hmm.
up? Or why
Hmm.
did tummy mummy not want to keep me? And
Hmm.
some of these questions can hurt as a parent who has adopted, because
Correct.
you always feel like, I am the parent, so why are these questions
Correct.
coming? But this comes out of curiosity and pure innocence, right? They
Correct.
don't know
Correct.
any better. And
Correct.
when you start revealing and telling the story, at some point of time, you have to face these questions. And it's about how tactfully you answer it, right? So
Correct.
you should never be afraid. You should never tell what is not the truth. Don't
Hmm.
spin so, no,
Correct.
and just make the story so beautiful that
Hmm. Hmm.
they really feel like they are wanted and loved. Yeah.
Correct. Correct.
But
So
but
it's like,
Lena,
huh,
revealing is very important. I would
yes,
highly
yes.
recommend all parents to please speak to their children about
Correct.
adoption and the fact that they are
Correct.
adopted, because it is very important. Yeah.
It's very important, yes. And also, all the questions, it's very important to answer these questions also in a positive way without making the birth parents or birth givers look like negative or something like that, you know?
Yeah, you can never make them bad people.
Correct,
No, they never are.
correct, correct,
So most of
correct.
my, I think when our video went up and
Mm,
it became viral and it
mm,
was posted everywhere, we
mm,
had some
mm,
1.2 million views when we went to
mm.
bring my son.
Huh,
The half the comments were about what a bad person, what a horrible mother, what a
mm, mm,
nasty woman,
mm.
and
Correct.
I would religiously respond to every comment and say,
Response.
please don't talk about her
Correct,
like that. She
correct,
had the good sense to keep this child alive and safe
correct,
till some of the authorities. She didn't put him in a
correct. True.
plastic bag and throw
And
him
throw
away.
it anywhere.
She
Yes,
didn't
yes.
hurt the baby.
Correct,
She didn't sell
correct,
him to a pimp. She ensured that the
correct,
baby was safe. And
correct,
so
correct.
today he has a good life.
Mm, correct, correct.
Yeah.
Very true, very true. So, during this full journey of adoption, giving interviews, and being very open about your adoption journey, have you faced any unnecessary questions or comments or advices from people regarding adoption, or you being open about adoption, talking about it?
Um, yeah, I have faced a lot of trolling, and
Mm,
I think the worst of it, people who follow me on social media know, they've seen my stories. I've had
mm,
unknown
mm.
people write. There was especially a lady whom we had to file a cyber complaint against, a
Okay.
criminal complaint.
Mm,
She called my children garbage. She said they are from the kachra, and that I
mm,
have taken
mm.
children from the kachra and made them my babies, and that my daughter will
Correct.
become a prostitute. And there was a lot of nonsense she wrote about the children, and
Correct.
we had to, yeah, eventually shut her down, and then
Mm,
ask people to like go and report her profile, and it was
mm,
quite
mm.
nasty. And
Correct.
of course, in India, I feel like there is a lot more. We are not yet, I think,
Mm,
sensitized to
mm,
the
mm.
adoption topic,
Adoption
right? Like
topic. Yes.
we both understand, and we both are
Correct.
seeing that. Yeah,
Correct.
okay,
Correct.
1 second.
Yes.
Okay, right, I'm coming. So, I think we need to talk about this a lot more. We need to ensure that this is not something that people joke about, or talk
Correct.
about it in a bad way.
Correct.
That this is something amazing, and us giving life to the
Mm,
children, and um, and them giving us
Them
life,
giving
actually the
us
other way
life.
around is,
Yes.
yeah, like they literally have changed our
Correct.
lives ever since they have come
Correct.
into our, yeah.
Correct.
So, and not only us, like the entire family, right? The way they are, like, uh, uh, they lighten up the room every time they are in the space with all the family. It's amazing, right? And the
Correct.
kind of joy they bring with them. So I when we went public with our story, with Rukmini's story, with my son's story, um, of course there are a lot of questions that come, which are, I feel, come
Mm.
out of ignorance, right? Because
Correct.
people don't know any better,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
So
Correct.
things like when you look at her, don't you think she is somebody else's child,
Correct.
or that somebody
Correct.
else gave birth to her? How do you accept that this child did not come out from your system?
Correct.
Or the fact that this baby may not look like you after a
Mm.
few years because there's no
Correct.
genetics. And
Correct.
with my first baby, I used to get very annoyed. I used to get angry, very upset
Mm.
when I answered these
Mm.
questions. But with my son, I don't
Mm.
think I get so upset anymore. I understand that
Mm.
people don't know much about this topic, and
Okay.
they don't know how to ask a question. So
Mm.
and they just randomly say something that they don't understand, they should not be
Mm.
saying. So yeah.
Correct. Correct. Do you think even today resemblance is given a lot of importance in our society? Like, this your child looks like you, sounds like you. Do you think that's still there, that, that comparison?
Of course it's there. Because in our brain we are so fine tuned to have
Mm.
your children look like you, right? This whole thing about
Correct.
lineage, and this
Correct.
whole thing about the fact that my genetics, mera varis,
Correct.
so that the baby should look like you. That if
Mm.
you and your husband
Mm.
have consummated your wedding, or you and your husband are having intercourse, and then you all pass
Mm.
on genetics to each other, your baby should look like you. Why do
Correct.
we give so much importance to that? We make our families, right? We
Correct.
choose to
Correct.
build our families, and just because a child looks like you or doesn't look like you
Mm.
does not mean they're not family.
Correct.
Sometimes your
Correct.
own
Correct. True.
blood deceives you. Your own
Doesn't
blood
look.
can go
Mm.
against you.
Correct.
So
True. We have
what kind of
so
blood
many examples for that too, right? We have so many examples of bio children going against parents and
yeah. Sorry, I got coffee.
So how were
Yeah,
the
so
early days with your daughter? Did it happen from day one, or how was it? Like the bonding, the love?
um mm, I think, as a person, always wanted to have children. So did my husband. We were always of this idea that we wanted a big family, right? So children
Mm.
were, I think, part of this whole dream from the
Mm.
beginning, from the day we got married. We said we're not going to wait. We should have
Correct.
children immediately so that we'll be young parents. I was
Correct.
22. I thought it was the best age to have my children, and
Correct.
because my
Correct.
mother was a young mother, and my
Mm.
mother had both me and my sister before she was 25, 26.
Okay.
So she
Okay.
became a grandmother when she was 43.
Mm.
So I felt like it was a good thing to have your children early. And
Yeah.
so for me, when like I told you, the moment I held Rukmini in
Mm.
my arms,
Mm. Mm.
I don't think every doubt that I had in my head, that how am I
Correct.
going to do this? How difficult this is
Correct.
going to be? Am I going to be a good mother? Is my child going to bond with me? All that flew away from the
Yeah.
window. And
Sure.
Leena, I'll break this down to you. And again, I'm sure you know this because you yourself have an adopted
Mm.
child. You are a heart's mother. Children, right,
Mm.
are the most selfish beings. All they
Correct.
need is good food, nurture, care,
True.
love, to be kept
True.
clean,
True.
and lots of hugs and love and cuddles and attention. And
Correct.
they just associate that person with the person who is their caregiver, right?
Correct. Correct.
It is
True.
it is not, maternal bonding is not that the child remembers like photographic memory whose vagina it came out of,
Nothing.
right?
Nothing.
The child
Correct.
associates that love, and the child associates that emotion with the person who is there when they are in distress.
Correct.
I'm
True.
hungry, give me food. I am the person giving you food. I have
Giving.
pooped, clean my potty. I'm the
Clean.
person who cleans your potty. So the
Correct.
connection is that you are there for me when I need you. You are the unconditional love provider, and hence I love you.
Correct. Correct. True.
Right? It is only as they get older, like at Rukmini's age, when I'm building a connection with her, I'm talking to her,
Correct.
and she wants to be like Amma, she wants to talk like Amma, she
Right.
wants to be an artist like Amma. I
Oh.
see her wearing makeup. She's like, I want to dress up like you, I want to wear sari and jewelry. And she's building that little bond where she's
Correct.
starting to recognize the things that I do. So she
You
wants to be
you
like
do.
that.
Like
So
this.
in that
Right.
initial few months when the baby's like 6 months, 7 months, they don't care. They just want to be happy and clean and be fed.
Correct.
And
Correct.
and we
True.
are fulfilling our basic need to our maternal need, right? And
Correct. Correct.
it's a win-win situation for both. I have a
Both.
baby to
Yes.
cuddle and love,
Correct.
and
Yes.
he or she has a mother who is constantly looking only at me and giving me attention. So
Correct.
I'm happy.
Correct.
Yeah. So
Correct.
With Rukmini, it's like I think we were a match made in heaven. She's my husband's blood group, the same
Ah.
blood group. She looked like a splitting image of me at that age, and
Yes.
my mother, when we went to bring her home, everybody was in the car with us. My mother looked at her for the first time. It was probably the third visit to the orphanage. My mother looked at her and my mother started crying and she said, how can this miracle happen? How can somebody else, give birth to a child that is exactly like you?
Like yeah.
And I
True.
said, it's just the universe conspiring, right?
Correct.
That you
Correct.
have faced so much in your life, all your troubles, that
Correct.
God watches. He knows that, something good is going to come out of this, and He's going to give you the best thing ever. Yeah.
Correct. 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 So we'll just take a few questions that have come. Someone
Sure.
has asked us, is there any age, I think, to tell the baby? Yeah, which age is appropriate to tell them, especially when we get a small baby?
Three
So what
years.
will you say? You
Three.
just, yeah.
Three is when they start to understand. See, before three, they don't comprehend much, right? It never
Mm,
registers. But
mm,
at three,
yes.
like I told you, they understand stories very beautifully. They
Correct.
love stories, right? So bedtime
Correct.
stories, gods
Correct.
and goddesses, how you came into my life, reading them books.
Correct.
And from
Correct.
three, the story building gets stronger. So
Correct.
even today at 6.5, there are days when she has seen pregnant women. She asks me
Huh.
what's inside. And then she
Mm,
asked me,
mm,
was I in your stomach? And so we introduced the concept of tummy mummy, right? So you were
correct.
inside tummy mummy's stomach. So
Mm,
the
mm,
story building and the trust that they have with you,
correct.
because God forbid they hear about their adoption story from a
Somebody
relative at some
else. Yes.
function, and they're 10
Correct.
years old, they're 11 years old, when they have already built such a great connection with you. Like Rukmini is in love with her father. Like there is no greater
Correct.
human being in this world. Like
Correct.
I will slog my ass off every day, but Appa is the best. There is nobody better than Appa. Now
Correct.
imagine this person who you hold with such high regard. Suddenly your
Correct.
world comes crashing down because some fourth person tells you that, oh, you came home when you were 6 months old. I remember coming to see you.
Correct.
It is a
Correct.
it is a it is the greatest it is the greatest deception, right, for
Correct.
the child.
Correct.
If the child knows, the child is going to say, yes, I know, uncle, my mother has already
Mm,
told me.
true.
So
True.
and it will build the concept of adoption gets stronger, which means when they grow up they do it themselves. They are going to take that forward and probably adopt a child in their lifetime.
Correct.
And
Very true.
so the love grows, and so you are basically building a generation of children who are heart babies, who also want to take this forward and do this for themselves.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Very true. So I will also like to add something. I'm very happy today, yesterday, me and my daughter were having a little conversation about how my puppy, my dog, came, So she was asking me, where did Scooby come from? And I told her he came from my heart, just like you. And like she asked me, I didn't come from your tummy. I said, no, you came from my heart. Heart is bigger than tummy, no? So you came from my heart. And today I went to my mom's place and she's telling everyone, I didn't come from tummy, I came from heart. And I'm like, I was so fascinated that, this small girl, she's 3 years old and she's telling everyone she's meeting that I came from mama's heart.
You know what my daughter says, Leena? Oh,
Yeah.
tummy is only where food is digested. Heart is what pumps the blood. No, that is where we
Right.
come from.
Yeah.
Like that is the life-giving force. So why would I want to be in somebody's tummy when I can come from the heart?
Correct, correct. She was so happy that I didn't come from her tummy. I came from heart. I came from heart is bigger than tummy. So it's like, yes,
You
three
see,
is the best
you
age. Yeah.
yes. So you see how your daughter will now
Huh.
understand the concept and not
Correct.
give too much attention or any importance to
Yes.
the idea of being pregnant, right?
Correct, correct. That's true.
Because
Yeah.
I think we again as a society have glorified pregnancy so much,
Pregnancy is so
like
much. Yes.
with all our rituals and festivals and everything
Correct,
around revolving around
correct,
pregnancy, that
correct,
in my
correct.
life my greatest achievement and dream was to have my
I have a
god
child.
bharai, my god
Huh,
bharai.
huh.
Yeah,
Correct,
I want
correct,
to wear bangles, I want to flaunt my bump everywhere, I want to like
correct,
walk around in that sari and I want to show the whole world, oh, I'm pregnant. But then I realized how petty I was, right?
correct,
That
correct, correct.
it is not just about keeping a baby in your womb for 9 months.
Yes.
That
Correct,
I am seeing, and again, this is not any judgment towards mothers
correct, correct,
who
correct,
choose to have babies or have babies without a choice, where it has been a surprise pregnancy or whatever.
correct,
They
correct.
were never maternal, they never wanted to have a baby. But I have seen parents who have had babies but never have the time to give those children, right? They
Correct.
are
Yes,
very
yes, yes,
busy
yes. Even
focusing
I have
themselves on
seen. Yes.
other things, and
Correct,
somebody else is raising the child, right? Somebody else is
correct,
taking care of
correct,
the baby.
correct,
And
correct,
I
correct,
feel sorry because it is not just about giving birth.
correct,
Anybody can have sex and anybody can get pregnant. It's
correct,
not the most difficult thing on this planet. But raising a baby, bringing it to life, nurturing it, making it a good human being, we're raising good, the next
correct.
generation of
True,
human
true.
beings. That is a lot of effort.
Correct, correct. So one more question we have. If a couple is healthy biologically, will they still be easily considered for adoption, or will they not be given as much preference and will have to wait longer?
No, so I don't think there is any uh, I don't think
Yeah,
there's any disclaimer in the
mm,
documentation. The doctor
correct,
clears you. We had our blood test. I could have had a child biologically, right? If I had continued to try with my
correct,
treatments. I don't think I
correct,
had anything wrong with me that would not allow me to have a child through my womb. We
correct,
chose adoption as an option to look at having
correct,
children because we just didn't want to torture my body anymore.
correct.
So there are certain times when there was, I think, a question in the questionnaire which asked, what are your
Yes. Uh,
infertility or,
yes,
infertility
yes,
treatments or whatever?
yes,
I
yes.
chose to
I
not
was so
answer it.
angry. I was so angry on that question. I'm like, do
Yeah.
you want a certificate that I cannot have a baby and why?
Yeah. And no, I chose not to answer it. I said, I'm not going to.
Yes,
This is private information to me, and I choose to not answer it.
correct,
It's a
correct, correct,
democratic country. You can choose to
correct,
not answer it. There is
correct.
nothing that will stop them from putting you in the system, right?
True,
You are
yes.
as eligible as any other person today to adopt.
Adopt.
So,
Yes,
there's absolutely no way that somebody can say, oh, because you are healthy, you should try and have your own child first. No, nobody
correct,
can say that to you.
yes,
So, yeah,
correct, correct. Correct. So we have one more comment. It's so heartening to see heart mommies having such great conversation. Gives me a lot of hope. And to
oh,
be true, Sandhya, this is the first time I am sharing my experiences also.
yeah,
Maybe because I kind of see myself in you somewhere. So yes, it is a very nice conversation that we are having today. Yeah.
absolutely. And this is and I hope that there are a lot more heart mommies who see this and understand that we are literally raising, some amazing lionesses and
Correct.
lions out there.
Correct.
These babies
Correct.
are
Correct.
tough babies. They
Puff
are
babies.
tough, they are strong.
Yes.
Yeah, and they
Yes.
have survived through the system to get to us.
Correct.
And
Correct. They
Yeah,
have
and
stayed,
it's
they have stayed alone 6 months, 8 months, 1 year, 2 year,
yeah, yeah,
waiting for us, trusted us.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And adjusting. Imagine on one fine day you're in the new house,
Yeah.
new people, somebody's putting you to bed, somebody's feeding you. I mean, imagine
Correct,
what that does
correct.
to a child's system, no, and how mentally
That's
strong
true.
these children are.
Yes. Very, very strong. And the trust they put on us. One fine day
Yeah,
they are in someone else's hand.
yeah, that's true.
True, true, very true. So why did you decide to adopt again, and how did you tell your daughter about it? I think there's some consent that is required, or how was it like? How did the second adoption decision take place?
Lena, there's another question. How many days
Ah,
does it take to
yeah,
adopt? That is by
yeah,
Rubina.
Rubina,
So,
yeah.
yeah, so Rubina, it takes anywhere nowadays, anywhere between 2 years to 3 years to get your baby. So
No,
once
no,
you are in the
it's taking
system and
around
yeah,
3.5 years.
yeah, three
It's
and a half
taking, yeah,
years. But with my son, it was 3 years and 7 months. Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
So actually, the one of the good news is I had to share
Ah,
was also that the Supreme Court
ah.
has started sending out petitions to states that are stalling
Yes,
adoptions and
yes,
taking
yes.
longer. And it was in the
Longer.
newspaper the other day that if a
Yes, yes,
certain
yes.
state looks like the adoption pool is not moving fast and it's
Yes.
very slow, they have started sending them notices that they need to
Correct,
hurry up and they can't have the parents waiting for so long.
correct,
So
correct,
yeah.
correct.
Okay, about my
Yeah,
son.
yeah. So
Yeah.
second
So
adoption. Yeah.
Rukmini was, I think, at that age when we were
Mm,
starting to tell her about her own
mm,
story, is when we applied for my son.
yeah.
The beauty is that because she knew the story of how she came to us,
Mm,
she was very excited that there was another baby in a basket somewhere in the forest, wrapped in a blanket, waiting for us to find him.
uh,
So she had already named him also. She already knew she was going to name him Madhav. So she would sit in the puja
okay.
room every
So she
morning
named him
and
Mother.
yeah, she's named him Madhav like 3 years back.
Ah.
Yeah, so she'll call him Madhav Papa, and when she used to pray, she would say her prayers in the morning. She used to tell Umachi, please bring my Madhav Papa fast. I'm
Oh,
waiting for him. Amma and Appa are waiting for him. So I think it was more her prayers and her strong manifestations for a baby brother that literally gave us a baby that looked like a baby Krishna,
ah,
like one carbon copy of baby Krishna. But the beauty is, I don't think it was hard for her or for us to explain to her because she looked
ah,
forward to it a lot.
correct.
And so she knew that one day a phone call is going to come. She knew a photo is going to come. So she knew. So she asked us. So this is how my photo came, and
Ah,
we showed her on the Kara website. We said, "Yeah, see, this is how the
correct,
photo comes, and these
correct.
are all the medical details."
So
And now
did
we
that
have to
make
go.
it easier to her for you all to explain things to her?
Of course. And I am hoping that when they're grown up, she is going to
Mhm.
sit him down and explain to
Correct.
him.
Yes,
And that is
yes,
going to
yes, yes.
be the beauty of this
Yes,
whole thing, right? Is how you
yes.
pass on this amazing gift,
Correct,
right? That she will
correct,
sit him
correct.
down one day and she will say, listen,
Ah,
this is how we
ah,
came to see you and I held you for the first time. And
ah.
so stop
So
torturing your
true,
mother.
so true, so
Yeah.
true. Very
So,
nice. Yes,
so
yes, yes.
I remember how excited she was to like
Ah,
pack her bags and
ah,
to fly and to like, she took toys for him and she said, I'm going to pack a blanket for him and I'm going to like carry him first. None of you are allowed to carry him.
ah.
And even over there in the orphanage, they took some time. They wanted to go through our papers and ensure that all our paperwork was in order. So they
Okay.
were taking some time to bring him, and she was the one getting very frustrated. She was walking up
How
and
much
down the
time?
corridor. She's like, "When can I see my baby brother? When can I see my baby brother?"
That's the reason the elder sisters are called as second mothers. She's gonna become like you
Yeah,
completely with him.
but I honestly don't put a lot of pressure on her to take care of him.
Correct,
She's a child
correct,
herself, so
correct,
though that maternal instinct is there, I always ask
correct,
her to help me when I'm changing his diaper
correct.
or when I'm dressing him up. I'll tell her, Rukmini, come and give me like the newspaper or give me the wet
Huh, huh.
wipes. and I never put the entire this thing. She said, "I'll take care of him. You can go have a bath. I'll take care of him. You can cook." And I'm like, "No, no, you don't have to take care of him. I'm here. You enjoy
You
with
take
him. You
care of
play with
yourself.
him. You take care of yourself first."
Yourself
It's like I'm
first.
just grown up akka now. I can take care of him on my own. And I'm like,
Yeah.
"No, thank you. No." So
Correct,
uh,
correct.
with him with the second one, it was super smooth. They
Huh,
asked us to bring her and come, and which we were obviously going to do.
huh,
We did take her
huh.
and go, and they
Correct.
had a lot of questions to ask her. So they asked her things like, tell us about your how you feel. Your brother is
Ah,
coming now. Yeah. So
how old
are
was
you
she?
excited? This was last year, so she was
Acha,
five and a half.
five and a half. Okay.
So they made us sit down before they brought him and they came and they asked her a lot of questions and they were so shocked with her enthusiasm and
Ah.
her excitement. She's like, I can't wait to see him. Where is he? Why all are taking so much time to bring him? Like enough of the questions now. Like stop it. Yeah.
Cute,
So,
yeah, how
and
cute.
even the first night in the hotel, when we brought him home, the guys at the hotel had like decorated the room with like teddy bears,
Acha.
and there was a cake, and they had a teddy bear for
Oh,
Rukmini.
wow.
And I think she was very excited that because of him, she was getting a lot of
She was
gifts.
getting, good.
Yeah. So every time people came to see him at home, they brought her also something. So she's like, oh, he's a good
Oh,
way to get gifts. So even in the hotel, Leena, she wanted to bathe him. She wanted to sleep next to him. She
acha.
wanted to pat him and hum to him. And every time he would get up in the night because he was getting used to us, right? And formula feed, she would get up with us and she would sit with me when I was feeding him. And it was
Correct,
just
correct,
beautiful. It was beautiful to see. It is like they both knew each other from some different janam. The moment they
correct,
met
correct.
each other, it was like that's it. All he can say is akka, 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 akka,
Sparks
akka.
flew.
That's
Sparks
it.
flew.
That sparks like crazy. Like they had hearts in their eyes for each other. That is it. It was you get up in the morning, it is akka. Where is akka? Akka's gone to school. And then
Ah,
we start crying because Akka's gone to
Akash
school.
got to
Yeah.
school. Oh.
So yeah.
So what were the emotions all over your family when the second baby came in? Like, how was it meeting him for the first time, seeing his, beautiful face?
My God, Lena, like you won't believe it. The entire house was decorated, and
Uh,
people had like spread food on the table. There was like all kinds of different sweets, and there were
oh,
lamps lit everywhere when we flew down. And uh, he had the most amazing welcome, and he was so calm. There were like some 25, 30 people in the house, and he just
so
looked at everybody and he smiled. And I kept him in the puja room. I lit the lamp. I kept him in the puja room, and it's almost like he knew he was home. He was
correct, correct.
very comfortable. I made him sit on Rukmini's baby chair. He sat. He ate food. I gave
Uh,
him his khichdi.
uh,
Very
uh,
calm. No screaming. No crying. Lots of toys to
uh,
play with. And just to see so many people around and be happy and excited, right? And all the
correct,
celebration when he came home. Yeah, it was just amazing.
correct. So yours is the first story on our page where, two heart babies became siblings through adoption.
Yeah, and how? And it is like as if they were just meant to find each other. I don't
Correct,
think I think they conspired somewhere in the universe before they were born, and
correct,
they said, I always look at them as the two babies I lost, right? And somehow they
correct,
came back to
correct,
me.
correct.
And
Yes, yes,
it's
yes.
like the souls of these children, and I'm a
Correct,
big believer that,
yes.
these souls will find you somehow or the other.
Correct,
They are
correct,
meant to be
correct,
there for you.
correct,
The
correct,
souls of these children have come back to me in the form of these two children, and it's almost
correct.
like as if I
Yes,
had never
yes.
lost them.
Yes,
So,
yes, yes. Even I
yeah.
believe I believe in this a lot, These children coming to us is not a coincidence or anything like that. They
Oh,
were meant to
absolutely.
come, they were meant to come to us just through a different way, but
Yeah.
they are our destiny, and it's because of them that we are seeing this happiness today.
Leena, I'll tell you something very beautiful that my grandmother told me. She's 100 years old. And
Mm.
when I was struggling with my pregnancies and my losses,
Yeah.
she said
Huh.
this very beautiful thing to me. She said, Sandhya, when we were all living in a joint family together, you're looking
Correct.
at 7, 8 brothers who have been married at the same time. They all have their
Correct.
wives living with them,
Hmm.
and everyone
Hmm.
pretty much is pregnant at around the same time, right?
Correct.
One
Correct.
after the other,
Yes.
they're all having babies. And
Hmm.
she said, when there is a child lying in the bed sheet, and we
Hmm.
are cooking and we are walking around, and the child is
Hmm.
crying for milk,
Hmm.
nobody
Hmm.
waits to go look for
Correct.
that child's
Correct.
mother. We
Mother.
are
True.
nursing,
True. True.
so we pick up the baby, we nursed the
Correct.
baby, and we gave him his nourishment, his life, life changing, life altering nourishment. For him
True.
at
True.
that point of time, it was the food that was given to him through breast milk.
Correct.
Today, those
Correct.
boys and girls and men, they're 60s,
Hmm.
70, do they know
Hmm.
who fed them? Do they know
No.
who nourished them? They don't know,
No.
right?
Correct.
Because they are healthy and they are nourished. It doesn't
Correct.
matter who gives birth. It is
Correct.
always the nurturer. It is always the
Yes.
person who nourishes the child. It is
Correct.
always the person who puts their own needs at the back and in the background and brings the child's needs to the forefront.
Correct.
It is always those people who are going to win the greatest gamble of life. So
True.
that is
True. Very
what
true.
she
Very,
told
very
me,
nice.
and
Yes. Yes.
and that is why she told me, she said, why don't you look at adoption? And that's when I told her, I said, actually, we've already applied. I didn't tell
Uh,
anybody at that point of time. And she was the happiest.
wow.
Yeah. So she was the
That
one who
is
told me,
so nice.
why are you struggling like this? Why don't you apply? And I said, actually, we've already applied. It's been 2 years
Great.
and we are waiting for Rukmini to come. Yeah, she was the most overjoyed when she saw my baby Rukmini for the first time. I have a picture of like 4 generations sitting together. She was
Uh.
thrilled when Rukmini came home. She was 94 at that point of time.
Correct.
And she has not yet met Madhav, but she's seen him in like the video calls, and she cannot wait to
Video call.
see him. Yeah, she
Correct.
keeps
Correct.
looking at him and saying, "Oh my God, this is God. This is God on the camera. Like he's like
Correct.
a little
Correct.
God."
Correct.
So
Correct. Correct.
yeah.
So we have
So
an
when you talk about,
we have few comments. Pooja says absolutely right. I think that's for the nurture thing. Shobona says Rukmini and Madhav were meant to be siblings in Sandhya's home. Yes, yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
I have to change my name to Yashoda now.
Yes, mesmerized by the name Rukmini. I'm like, I told my husband, I showed him the video, and I'm like, see, her name is Rukmini. Such a beautiful name, and he was like, yes.
Because my husband is a big Krishna Bhakt, and
Uh,
Guruvayur is a place where he would constantly go and
uh,
literally submit himself to the idol and say, and he would cry and he would be like, please, uh, bring joy into my household with the babies. And
correct.
he would go almost, I think, every month,
Uh,
and I have never seen him break down like that. Like he would stand in front of the idol and literally say, I am, giving you my everything. But,
correct. Correct.
we've always wanted to have babies. And so when Rukmini came to me, we had some names selected for her, right?
Uh,
I had Indira,
uh,
I had
uh,
Janaki, and I had
uh,
Rukmini,
uh,
and I had Tara. And I just looked at her and I told my husband, I said,
Rukmini.
she's a Rukmini. She
Correct.
she is
Yes,
absolutely a
yes,
Rukmini. Like I don't
yes,
think any other name is, yeah.
yes, yes. That name is apt for her. Uh,
Yeah. And that's how
uh,
Madhav also happened. So
yes, yes,
yeah.
yes. Mata also beautiful name.
Yeah, he's
Beautiful name. I like these traditional names. I'm a big fan of traditional names. I love these names. So we have two more comments. Love watching you guys. Kavya says, and then Megha says, thank you for encouraging us.
you're welcome.
So, next point is how would you describe adoption from children point of view? Like we mostly speak about the adults, the adoptive parents. What would you describe it as the from the children's point of view, adoption?
Um, when you say in children's point of view, you mean on a day-to-day basis, like if they
I
know the information of them
think
being adopted?
we little bit spoke about it, how they trust us. They, uh, like one fine day they are in someone else's hand, and the next day they are at our place, at a new place. In that way,
So Um, I, I can tell you from both the children's perspective, right? Like both my children,
Huh.
um, because they're so young when they come to your house,
Mm,
they
mm.
go through their own sense of trauma and stress.
Correct. Correct.
For example, Rukmini did not poop for 3 days after she came home, right?
Huh. Huh. Huh.
It took some time for her to sort of settle in,
Mm.
get comfortable,
Correct. Correct.
play around, see her
Huh.
environment. Uh, I think she was in her own way processing the change from
Correct.
a new
Correct.
place to our
Correct.
house. And
Correct.
so
Correct.
every child,
Mm.
sort of deals with it in your own way. I've
Correct.
heard of children who don't sleep. I've heard of children who
Correct.
don't take the bottle. They don't have
Mm.
food.
Mm.
I've
Mm.
heard of a lot of cases where they cry incessantly.
Mm.
They
Mm.
cry a lot, and because they don't know how to deal with this whole thing, right? So which is why they say the younger the child the better, it becomes easier
Correct.
for them to transition. But
Correct.
uh, so in my perspective, I feel like the child uh, goes through its own trauma till they settle down with it in their system, and this takes a few months,
Correct.
right, for them to adjust and
Correct.
understand. And so the initial days, especially when my son came home, he was 9 months old. The initial
Mm.
days are more about comfort, right? How
Mm.
comfortable can you keep them,
Can you
and
keep
not
them?
changing
Yes.
too much of their routine. Like
Correct.
if
Correct.
they followed a certain diet or a
Mm.
certain routine for him
Mm.
at the orphanage. My pediatrician was telling me this, and he
Mm.
said, it's very important that you do this. Is suddenly you don't change his diet,
Mm.
suddenly you don't change his meal times. It can
Correct.
be very
Correct.
difficult for the
Correct.
child to
Difficult.
process with it.
Very.
Yeah, yeah.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
So
Yes.
children, yeah, in terms of what this does for a child is
Mm.
with an older child it can be a little harder,
Harder.
but
Yes.
it'll take a lot from the parents in terms of patience and
Correct.
giving themselves and the child some time.
Correct.
All you can do at that point of time when the child comes to your house is just give them 150% of your pure love,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
And
Correct.
if you feel like you are losing your calm and you're getting anxious or stressed out about it, it's good to back off for some time and let the other parent come in the picture, or seek help and counseling, which is very very important,
Important. Yes.
because it is very new. I went through postpartum
Mm.
depression when Rukmini came.
Mm.
It was not all
Correct.
happy and
Correct.
joyous,
Correct.
because all of a
Correct.
sudden you have a small baby in your arms, right? You didn't have a pregnancy
Correct.
period,
Correct.
you didn't have a
Correct.
pump.
Correct.
Suddenly, after 2 years, somebody says, "This is your baby, now take care of it,"
Mm.
right?
Mm.
So it
Mm.
can be
Mm.
very hard to adjust to that. It can be very hard. So, and
Correct.
you're the sole provider for the child. My husband was traveling a lot.
Correct.
I had to bathe her and feed her and
Mm.
clean pampers. And so,
Correct.
even for the
Correct.
mothers and the fathers, it can be very hard and
Harder.
trying. And imagine we are stressed and we can talk about it, but we
Mm.
are putting this on a child who
Correct.
cannot even speak about it.
Speak about it. Yes. Yes.
So
True.
we have to understand that because there is non-verbal communication and because they are not able to talk about it, they show it in different ways, right?
Yes.
It can
Yes.
be not eating properly.
Mm.
So we cannot force feed them. We have to give them some time to
Correct.
adjust.
Correct.
So whenever they are
Correct.
hungry, children, their reflexes are such that if they're hungry, they will say they're hungry and they will eat.
Correct. True.
So
Very true.
we have to give them time also to process the whole concept of a new space.
Correct. 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 So we'll take few comments again. Pooja says this is so emotional things to learn about babies have how babies have come to you. She again says how have you all kept the name before the baby came?
Yes, you have to.
Hmm.
So the adoption committee asks you to decide a name because all the paperwork for the baby starts the moment you land and you see the baby.
Correct.
So
Correct.
nowadays they have fast tracked the whole
Huh.
process.
Huh.
So you need to ensure that you have a name ready, because the moment you give the acceptance letter, in
Hmm.
24 hours the foster care papers are ready, and there's a judicial the magistrate deputy magistrate signs the papers. So which is why
Correct.
keeping a name ready is important.
Important. Yes. Megha says, I am also facing the same things, but nobody to talk about. I also faced 3 losses and now registered on Kara 3 months back. So yes.
So now you have us, Megha, to talk to. So if you're watching this, you know
Yes,
you can
Megha.
reach out and speak to us. And there is a large community of women who are
Hmm.
now talking about this. I get a lot of backlash, Leena, for talking about this, including from my own
Yes, yes.
family.
Even I get a lot of backlash, but I
Yeah.
don't care about it anymore.
Exactly. So we are fighting through that
Yes,
age-old
yes.
this thing of not revealing things, and
Correct,
look
correct.
at the number of lives we can touch. And
Yeah,
I can proudly say that ever since our videos went out and the information about our adoptions have gone out, and I have been
uh,
open about this on social media since Rukmini's days,
correct,
from the day she came home. I
correct,
have personally overseen, I can count now, I think 15 adoption cases where
correct,
successfully
correct,
they have brought the
correct,
babies home.
correct.
This is 15 children whose lives are
Lives have
changed,
changed.
and
Correct.
15 sets of parents whose lives have
Ch-
completely changed for the good.
Yes,
If we
change.
can
Correct, correct,
make those small changes, right?
correct,
Like if you are able to, through your information and through your solidarity and through passing on the education that you have about this topic,
correct,
if you can help
correct,
other families achieve what they want and dream,
correct,
why not,
correct,
right? And that is
correct.
the power of social media. It's
True,
not, we always
true.
like, it's always about log kya kahenge.
Correct,
Like
correct.
why the hell should anybody care about log kya kahenge?
लोग क्या कहेंगे? True.
These people are not going to be there for you
When
when you're
you
hyperventilating,
cry.
that yeah, that you're
Correct,
alone with your child, and oh, I
correct,
need somebody to talk to. I feel like I want to, run away from here. I have a small baby screaming and crying. I don't know what to do.
correct,
Where are these log,
correct,
right?
correct, correct.
Nobody is
True.
around. It is only the
Correct,
people who have gone through this journey who will understand what it feels like, which is why I always tell people, please come and speak to us. If I can't type,
correct.
I will always send you a voice note.
True, true.
I will always, be ready
Yes,
to speak to you about it. But
correct,
it is important to understand that nobody is alone over here.
correct, correct. So,
Media is so important.
recently we had 1,000 followers. We posted all good comments that we got, but what we did post is the backlash that we get. So, me and Nartana, we get a lot of backlash for doing these interviews also. You know, s- for speaking. Why do you want to speak out so much about adoption? So it's like everything is there. You know.
Yeah. It is, I would really like, I applaud you for doing this, because in a day and age when people don't want us to talk about these things, they want this to be hush hush. We
Correct.
will sit in front of a photograph of Krishna and pray
Hmm.
to him, and
That's
every god and goddess who has been adopted.
correct.
Janak adopted Sita. Janaki was adopted. She was.
Correct.
They say she
Correct.
came from the
Yes.
soil, right?
Yes.
She was
Yes.
also not
Yes.
his
Yes.
biological daughter. We pray to all these
Correct.
gods and goddesses, but we are not ready to become Yashodas ourselves,
True. True. Very true.
right?
And we
We will.
get backlash from the adoptive parents also. I'm like, I get surprised when we get backlash from the adoptive people.
These are the
So it's
parents. These are the parents who don't want to reveal the identity
yes,
of
yes,
how their
exactly,
child. What
exactly.
they don't understand is this is going to harm them in
True. Very true.
the future.
True.
Yeah,
So
which is
Shobana is saying that resonates. The primary caregiver can have a tough time during the adjustment period. I think it's
oh,
about the
absolutely, absolutely. The
postpartum.
primary caregiver needs so much support from her spouse, and vice versa, because uh, it's a difficult and very demanding period when both sets of people are anxious, right, including the child and the parent, and it is a trying and a very testing time for the child and the parents. That is when you need the maximum amount of support, help, your friends. If you are
Correct.
watching this, and if anybody is watching this, and you know somebody who has adopted a baby, please don't call up and say when can we come see the baby. Please
No,
call up and say how can I
no.
help you,
Correct,
right?
correct.
Can I bring
True.
can I bring food? Can I come and sit and play with your child? Can I
Correct.
watch your child when you go have a shower? How can we support you during this time, because that is what most people need, whether it's a
Correct.
biological child, whether it's an adopted child. both parents, new mothers, we are new mothers anyways. Postpartum depression doesn't come only to people who have babies biologically.
Correct, correct. True,
Postpartum
true, very
depression
true.
comes to a new mother as well, however you've had your child.
Correct.
And I
And
openly spoke about this.
Sandhya, it feels good to hear this from you, because I used to feel so depressed sometimes after Shreya came in. I used to because we are not used to handling children, and an eight-month-old is in my hand. I have to do everything single-handedly. So hearing this term, associating it with adoption also gives me also a lot of relief that I'm not the only one facing it. I
Oh,
used to feel, oh, is it
absolutely.
me? Yeah, yeah, it's really good you spoke about this.
Because it is always associated with a woman who has given birth, right? And all the
Correct,
hormonal
correct.
surge.
Yeah,
Mothers,
that's what.
and mothers who have adopted babies and the baby comes home also go through her hormonal surges,
Correct,
also have changes in their cycle. The stress levels also change. There is a sudden release of a lot of dopamine, a lot of oxytocin
correct,
into your system, because now
correct,
all of a
correct,
sudden you have a baby and your pretty much your dream of having a child is fulfilled.
correct.
But the surge that comes with like the stress and the anxiety of taking care of a baby all of a sudden, right?
Huh,
That is very hard. So
correct, correct, correct.
yeah.
So I'll take a few more comments. So many comments are coming today. Oh my goodness, she's saying really, really thankful to you for speaking about your adoption and being really honest and open about it. Vishal Patil, he says, thanks Leena for having stress-less journey and helpful journey. It helps me calming my wife. Vishal, you have my number. Anytime you want to speak, Pariniti want to speak, I'm always available. Shobona says, please, please have more people join our Facebook community for and of heart babies. You will find the support and community spirit. Yes,
So
yes,
Shobana, if you're watching this, a lot of people who come to me and talk to me about how they should apply,
yes,
one of the first places I ask them to join is the Facebook
yes,
group, because
correct,
a lot of times when they post a comment or they post some query, there are a lot of parents who come forward and help, and there's a lot of community
correct,
support there.
correct.
They
Yes,
will
yes,
never feel lonely. In fact, for and off heart
correct.
babies was such a God-given gift to me and my
That's
husband when we were,
seriously
yeah,
me too. Even
yeah.
I told Shobona that is how I survived that COVID period, that waiting period.
We actually, I there was a issue with the birth certificate of my
Huh,
daughter, where they
huh,
had mentioned the orphanage's name in her birthplace,
huh, huh.
and I contested that information because the Supreme Court ruling is that the child's birthplace should not include the orphanage's name.
Correct,
And
correct.
this is where the Facebook group helped me, because I went and checked, and there is the Supreme Court order was immediately posted to me, and there
Huh.
was an email sent, and they said, no, you have to contest this and ask them to issue you a new birth certificate,
Okay.
because as per the Juvenile Justice Act, it is
Hmm.
a violation of the child's privacy, right? Because the
Correct,
birth
correct,
certificate is the first ID document that the child has.
correct,
So
correct,
yeah,
correct, correct. So one
so yeah,
more
I'm very
comment,
thankful.
Susa Akhil, he's saying registration time, how long? Still waiting for the password.
I think you need to check with Kara. You need to
Huh.
call their helpline, because it pretty much takes only half an hour to
Yes,
register and get your login
yes,
ID.
correct,
Yeah,
correct, yes.
and all
So
of us were able to
I
do
will
that.
connect with you personally on DM. Please message me on DM. We will check what is going on. Huh? Yeah. Okay, so the next question, I think we have spoken about it, but still, you are very open about your adoption journey on social media. How important do you think it is to speak on social media? And do you face any criticism about
Wait,
adoption publicly for
uh,
speaking about it?
before I
Ah,
answer that, they say they have registered with an agent. Please don't register
don't
with agents.
register with agents.
They,
Just
they,
go on
they, this is a
Kara. Yeah,
scam. Yeah, this is a scam. Please, there is no agent who is associated with Kara. This is
yes.
only parent and Kara. The association is between the people adopting and Kara.
Hmm.
There are no recognized agents or legal agents in India who will help you to register with Kara. So please
Correct.
do not do this. Yeah. I am sorry if you have paid money for this,
Mm.
but it's illegal. So just to answer that question,
Correct,
um,
correct.
about my adoption story
Mm.
on social media and the
Mm.
backlash I faced.
Oh,
Um,
he's from UAE. It's not like an agent. Okay, he's from UAE. Okay, we'll connect in
yeah,
DM. I think it's a different procedure. So we will connect in DM and I will help you out. Okay?
Leena, you can
Yeah.
also tell him that the For and Off Heart Babies group has a lot of
Ah,
parents from the UAE
yeah.
who have
Yeah, yeah.
adopted, and so they
So
can
I will
help him
send
with
him
the
the link
process.
of Foreign of Heart Babies and ask him to join there and ask the query.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so coming back to my social media stories and being open about this, like I told you,
Mm,
I did receive a lot of backlash and a lot of questions, which to some point of extent I felt was
mm,
came from a place of ignorance, but there was also a lot of rude comments,
correct,
a lot of nasty comments about the person who gave birth to them, and
correct, correct.
also some very insensitive remarks that were made. And I can't fight every person who makes those comments and remarks.
Correct,
It is physically
correct,
impossible. So at some point of time, I just block or I report those comments. But
correct.
honestly, I feel like people's perception has to start changing, where
Mm,
they start to understand that what we are doing.
mm,
I got this comment saying, oh, you have come out on social media about your children
mm,
being
mm.
adopted because you want more followers. No, I'm
Correct,
sorry.
correct. Yes, yes, yes.
I
This
I am not
is a
revealing
very
my
common
stories
one.
of, yeah, that I want more followers. Nobody's looking
Correct,
for empathy over here. We share our
correct,
stories because we know there are a lot of parents out there who are suffering,
correct,
and we feel like our stories will give them a lot of strength and possibly help them to take those first steps to applying and going on to
correct,
Kara, and not being scared of doing this.
correct.
When you
Yes,
show them
yes.
positive, amazing, healthy stories of adoption,
Mm,
they are encouraged to go and take these steps further.
correct, correct. True, true, true.
So that is one of the things I would get a lot, is that you're
Mm,
doing this for the following. And I said, you
mm,
know what, the numbers don't matter.
mm,
I know the kind of people who see my stories. I know the love, and I know the responses I get on DMs.
mm,
I know the number of people. Currently, there is an adoption that is going on
mm,
from J&K, and
mm,
it was very useful to uh,
mm.
I could put that lady through to the contacts that I had
Correct,
and help
correct,
help her to achieve her documentation process, and we are
correct,
live helping each other. Like, she is sitting over there in a city in Kashmir,
correct,
and I'm able to tell her that these are the things that you can do, and these are the people you can get in touch with. That is why we do what we do, is so
correct,
that people can come and talk to us and be
correct.
open and find a safe space, right, to talk about
Mm,
these things.
mm. True, true, true. True. And I think if we are not going to use social media for these things, then, it's of no use. Social media is of no use. It is not
Yeah,
just for making reels and, just dancing in front of the
but
reel. It is not just
Leena,
for that.
that is the unfortunate thing.
Yes,
If you took off your clothes and
yes,
you shook your body parts and danced for some
yes.
trending music,
True, true,
you will
true.
have 1 million views and
Correct, correct.
500,000 likes, because everybody will
True, true.
comment, and Instagram's algorithm will recognize that, oh, this
True,
person
true,
has a lot of comments and
true.
likes, and you will have 1 million followers. But
Correct,
for you and me and other
correct,
people who are struggling and doing things
correct.
to help people out, we don't get the views,
We
we don't
don't
get
get
the
it.
following, we don't get the shares. Yeah.
True, true, true. That's the Never mind. One day we will change the world.
Yeah.
So, what are your message? What is your message for people who are contemplating for second adoption or have a biological child and planning for second adoption? What are your words for them?
um you know Before, when we applied for my son, we gave ourselves 2 years, and we said if this
Correct,
doesn't happen in 2 years, and then the pandemic hit, and then a lot of the time changed, right? The amount
correct,
of years, the number of months. Uh,
correct.
Somewhere around the end of the 2 years, we looked at each other and we said, let's give it more time. It's going to happen.
Mm,
Let's give it more time.
mm,
And so the third year passed, and
mm,
around December 2020, my husband asked me, "What do you want to do now?" So
mm,
I said, it doesn't harm us to
mm,
keep the numbers going, we
Correct.
see when it happens, right?
When it
When
happens,
when
yes.
when his referral comes through and we get a picture, if we
Mm.
choose to want to go ahead with it, we can. Otherwise, we can choose to not go through it.
Correct.
The choice is ours.
Correct.
So I told my husband that I feel like let us just keep it going and see
Correct.
what happens from this and how long it
Correct.
takes. Literally
Correct. Correct.
7 months later, we get this referral, and I kid you not, Leena, I looked at his photograph and I was like, this is what we were waiting for. And the joy in
Correct.
Rukmini's eyes.
Correct.
And when they sent us the first videos of him from there, and
Correct.
uh, he had been in the orphanage for 9 months, right?
Correct.
And
Correct.
I felt like this beautiful boy, and they were so sweet. They were telling me, he's such a sweet child. If nobody adopts him, I'm going to take him home and I'm going to raise him as my own child. And I said, no, no, we're coming from Bangalore. Don't do that. So we rushed, and I feel like when I see Rukmini and him together, right, uh, I feel like there is this beautiful magical bonding between them. There is this little aura that forms around both of them.
Correct.
And for
Correct.
anybody who's thinking of applying or thinking that their biological child should have a sibling
Huh.
or their adopted child should have a sibling, if you feel in your heart that you're fortunate enough and God has given you enough to take care of another child or to sustain, and you have age on your side, please go ahead and do it. I don't think there's anything more beautiful than bringing on. I mean, if I had age on my side, Leena, I
Huh.
would 100% get another 3 children and come home.
Another yes.
And if the wait time was not so long, I would gather all of them. Like there are days when I go to give Madhav's documentation, no, his
Huh.
every his
Huh.
follow up visit
Correct.
documentation.
Correct.
I go and I see those babies playing over there, and I ask them, I say, can I take them all home? Can I just
Huh.
put them in the car and like bring
Correct.
them home?
Correct.
So
Correct. Correct.
yeah.
Correct.
So
Few more comments. We'll take some reality check by Shipra. She has commented that after 3 years, home study expires. Yes. So
yeah, you have to redo
what should
your
we
home
do?
study. Yeah.
Redo it.
Yeah, and they come very quickly. And as soon as you call up your agency
Huh.
and you tell them my home study has expired, you will get a notification from Kara so that your home
Hmm.
study, and they keep sending you the email continuously till you upload
Correct.
the fresh home study. So you can just get that
Correct.
done by calling the same person who did it the first time. Yeah.
Correct. Correct. Okay. Okay, the last one. Sorry, one more question. Awakening spirit. Okay, she's written that when we get a call, if for some circumstances we are not ready at the time and we say no for some reason, would we be considered again? I think they can put it on hold, no?
Uh, so I don't know if you can put it on hold, but you will get a chance. You get three
Three
chances every 30
chances.
days.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah,
Three
so
chances.
30, 60, 90. And I if you are not ready, that's her next comment. It says
Huh,
we are not ready.
huh.
If you are not ready, I would also suggest that you identify why you are not ready and you
Huh.
seek counseling,
Correct.
because sometimes there can be this feeling inside which you are not able to address
Hmm.
with friends and family, and a professional, a counselor who takes care of adoption cases and helps parents to deal with this process or how to process the emotions of adoption, right? It's
Hmm.
not easy. All
Correct.
of us who have adopted babies and are raising these babies have a very different kind of heart. It is
Correct.
not easy.
Correct.
It is not easy, and not everybody does it. It takes a very different kind of strength in your heart to do this. And if you feel like you don't have that, there is nothing
Correct.
wrong with you. It is normal to feel
Hmm.
that kind of fear, but please seek help, because I'm not sure if you can put your adoption on hold or your registration on hold, but I do know that
Yes,
if you
yes.
reject
Yes,
or
you
you
can
reject the
put your
first time.
registration on hold, I think. Yes, you can put your registration on hold in case there is any genuine reason.
But
You
this
can.
is when
Huh.
she says if we
Huh.
get a call,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
won't get a call, you
Call,
will get a
huh?
message.
Message, yes.
If you accept the referral
Hmm.
and you
Hmm.
go and see the baby and reject the
Then
baby,
you did. Then
you
you can't.
will you will go on
Go three
hold and you will
years
get,
back.
yeah, you will go back in 3 years. But
Hmm.
if you don't accept the referral, You let it pass
Okay.
48 hours, you don't
Huh.
reply to the message or the
Huh.
email, you get
Huh.
another chance in 30 days,
30
and then
days.
another
30 days.
chance in 30 days,
Another
and
30 days.
all three, if you don't respond, you go back 3 years in the waiting list.
Three
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
Yes, 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 yes. So Pooja says if your husband skips in between the process, what to do? I am in all for it. We have a bio child. If we don't renew the HSR, does the profile still be active? I didn't
No.
get the first
You
question.
mean if your husband is not for it and he sort of changes his mind?
That
That's
I
I
don't
think
get
that's your
it.
question.
My husband
I would still
is not ready
suggest.
for any kind of counseling, she says. My husband is not ready for any kind of counseling.
Then I would suggest that it's you don't force your husband
Mhm.
and you let it take its own time, because
Yeah.
bringing a child home with one
Uh,
parent who's not sure is the worst thing you can do for the child. So
mm,
I would really want you to give him
correct,
space to
correct,
come to terms with it.
correct,
If he really feels like both of you together should have a child, it's a two people thing. One person cannot do it alone.
correct,
So you can always communicate and talk about it as a couple.
mm,
Tell him how much you feel like you want to adopt
mm,
and why you feel it is important for him and you. If he's not okay with counseling, you can't force somebody. You can't push them and take them to a counselor's office and say you have to take counseling.
correct,
This is a very difficult thing to process, right? It's a big life decision. It is
correct,
not
correct,
like you're getting a surgery done, or you're removing some body parts, or you're shaving your hair.
correct,
Once a baby comes home, then there is no biological or adopted. The baby is
correct,
yours 100%.
correct,
So
correct,
you have to take care of that baby whole and soul.
correct,
So you have to be like so sure about getting this baby home, never half-heartedly.
correct,
So that is what I would
correct.
suggest, is don't push. The moment you push a person to do
Mm,
and they do it for the sake of doing it, right, that is where everything just goes downhill. So yeah,
correct, correct. You both need to be on the same page for
absolutely,
this.
like 100%, like the dedication has to be like both of you have to be 100% sure that this is what you want out of life. Yeah.
Correct, correct. So one more comment we have. Once baby came home, Amita is saying once baby come home, how long does it take for court order in J&K?
Amita, this depends on your agency. It's an agency to agency thing. So
Mm,
you will have to follow up with your agency on how long it will take for your court order to come.
correct,
Technically, there is Kara gives them a time frame. They cannot delay it for more than 60 days after the baby comes home.
correct, correct,
So that is that if they delayed for more than 60 days, you can approach Kara and they will send them a reminder. But they are
correct,
bound to send you any kind of documentation, including birth certificate and everything, and close the file within 60 days of the baby coming home.
correct, correct,
Yeah.
correct. True, true. So Pooja, please DM me. I will have a word with you once. Please DM me after the interview. Okay. So I think most of our questions are done.
She
Any
has
more?
a
Uh,
comment where she says my HSR is on 27 July.
yeah,
He looks fearful.
looks
Pooja,
fearful.
Pooja,
Yeah, that's what I
let the
will tell.
Pooja, let the home study happen. If you have an
Hmm.
HSR, let it happen. If he has any
Uh,
questions to ask the social worker
ah,
at that point of
we
time,
can ask.
let him ask the questions.
Correct,
Don't interrupt him. Don't
correct,
put any ideas in his head. Don't put your ideas in the middle when he's
correct.
talking.
Talking, yes.
Let him have a free hand to whatever doubts he has to clear it out.
Correct,
Right?
correct,
Yeah.
correct. One more question we have. Shipra is asking after excip exciped
After
referral, what does
after you accept the referral, what
exceeding,
are the
I think
steps?
accepting. After accepting the referral, what was the step? Okay, Shipra, I have made a reel. I have two reels that are made. I will share it with you in DM where all the steps for adoption are mentioned. So after watching that reel, if you have any more queries, you can DM it to me. Okay?
I have also made a video. It's
Yes.
also on my highlights about adoption. I have
Okay.
a very long video. I think it's a 25-30 minute video where I have given
Okay.
all the steps
Okay.
of what happens when you get a referral. So yeah, she can
Yes.
watch that as well.
Yes. 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 Sure. Acha, she's saying he's not ready for the HSR. Then I don't know what to do.
Uh,
He's
I
not ready.
see. We
Then
are
I
here
think,
to
he just
we
needs
are here to
to.
help
Yes.
you. We are here to
Yes.
help you get to a point where
Correct.
you are ready to adopt. Before
Correct.
this, I don't think Leena or I have the
I
authority to speak when
can.
it comes to
Yes.
you as a couple, right?
Yes.
I think it is something that you both need to communicate and figure out, because
Mm.
I would never advocate bringing a child into the picture if you are not ready for it.
Correct. 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 So, Sandhya, last question, a few words or some suggestions you have for the page and the interview series that we are doing.
I would definitely want you to bring maybe same gender parents who have
Yes.
adopted. Yes,
Yes. Okay.
because that is very important. There are a lot of couples over there who are from the LGBTQ community,
Correct.
and they do want to adopt, and they have a lot of questions regarding it. And
Correct.
because we had an entire case on it, and people watched the case proceedings about them
Okay.
wanting to adopt. And
Correct.
if you know of any stories where they want to start, definitely I
Mm.
would want you to talk to
Correct.
people who have older children that they have adopted. Like I'm talking
Correct.
plus 6 years,
Yes. Yes.
7 years,
Yes.
right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
because
Yes.
that is
Yes.
the
We are
need of the
trying. Yes.
hour. Yeah, that is the need. I can connect you to
Yes.
parents who have adopted older
Please,
children.
please, because see, we keep on posting that whoever wants to, wants to get interviewed, please connect. But then we don't, like I myself don't have an idea who has an elder child. Or so if you have any contacts, let me know. I think Shobona has also given me a few contacts, so I'll be contacting
Yeah,
them.
so I'll definitely like ping you
Yes,
about
yes,
that. That is
yes,
something I think what you're doing is amazing, because it takes a lot of courage to come out and speak about these stories and
yes,
bring mothers like
yes.
us
Correct,
to the platform where we can share our views with you, and
correct,
together we are able to sort of, it is like a pot, right? We are filling it
correct,
with information and
correct,
knowledge,
correct.
and
As
all the
much,
mothers who
as
are
much as
coming
we can.
together. Yeah, and all the mothers are coming together and filling their little bits of knowledge. And through this, we're hoping and praying that a larger community benefits. And this as a topic is something that is not spoken about so much, like I mentioned before. And it is
Correct,
so important for all of us to be talking about this,
correct,
and hear real live real time stories, and not just stories that we're seeing on social media or reading about in the newspaper, but
correct,
having real physical people come and speak about, not the not so nice stories should also be spoken about, like postpartum depression, right?
correct.
Or
Yes,
anxiety levels,
yes.
or how this can take a toll on you, because it is not always a rosy picture. Adoption is
True,
beautiful, but
true,
adoption is also
true.
hard, and adoption can
Correct,
also drain your energy.
correct,
It can be a very difficult process if your family is against it. You and your husband may be for it, but you have an
correct.
extended family
Extended
that doesn't.
family,
Yeah,
yes.
like there are a lot. Like we never told our extended family till
Correct,
about when our number was at 100, and that's when we
correct,
told everybody, listen, the baby's going to come home anytime now. And
correct,
because you don't want to hear any judgments, or you don't want them to give
correct,
you their
correct,
side of the story or
correct,
comments. So
correct, correct,
definitely, when you don't have that kind of support system, this can be a hard decision. It's like you're fighting a war against the entire world. So
correct,
it can be a very lonely place to be.
correct,
You want to not tell everybody, because you should not have any preliminary celebration.
correct,
You want to wait till the baby comes home to celebrate. And
correct,
I support a lot of women by telling them, the time that you're waiting, do all the stuff that you want to do, like do solo trips, do a little bit of nesting, prepare your house
correct,
for the baby, make a bucket list of the
correct,
things that you want to do. You have 2 years, right, till
correct,
the baby comes. Not that you can't do it with the baby, but you will not have that much time, because you
correct,
will be enjoying motherhood or parenthood.
correct,
So as a
correct,
couple, try and see if you can do trips together, enjoy some time together on your own.
correct,
So
correct,
this is how I share my stories about what I feel I can share with the parents. So which is why this
correct.
communication that is happening
It's
is very
important.
important. Yeah.
Correct. So we have few comments, but I really don't have time now. So there's a lot of time constraint. I'm really sorry. We will take them in DM and I'll surely reply to you, Shipra. Please DM me. I, I have to take my daughter for a birthday party.
No worries. I have a I think my son has pooped. So
Okay, so before you leave, Sandhya, I will just announce the next live. So next week I am not there, so it's going to be Adoption Insights with Narthana. So Narthana is going to take the next live. It's on this Thursday, 10 a.m. A story of three beautiful daughters. Like, she has adopted a lady. She has adopted three beautiful daughters, two biological, and the third one is adopted child. So we will see you all on Thursday. Till then, Sandhya, thank you so much for joining. And I saw myself in you, and I got so much courage. So much. I got to learn. I got so inspiration, so much inspiration from you that going after going through such a journey. Also, you're so positive and taking so good care of your children.
yes, you're so welcome. I'm so happy to be here, and I'm happy to
Yes.
give you this time. And yeah,
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you very much. And thank you all for
no, no.
watching and all the comments. Thank you.
Bye. See you. And yeah,
Yes,
you can
bye.
reach out to us whenever you
Yes,
want to.
yes,
With
yes,
like anything you guys want to talk about. So we're all always here. So yes.
yes. Yes, Amirtha is with us. She's the next, she'll be alive with us next.
Oh, lovely.
Okay?
Okay.
Chalo.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Chalo.
Bye. Good evening,
Yeah.
everybody. Bye.
Bye. Take care.
Thanks, Leena. Have
Yes. Thank you, Sandhya.
fun at the birthday party with your daughter.
Yes.